Hey everybody, this is Dead Gamer. This particular video is about using the thermic plasma conduits and also the older school, what the hell are these called? Promethium pipes. So that's these kits right here. You've got the thermic plasma conduits. You get a set of these with the ZONE MORTALIS Necromunda Dark Uprising kit. But then I've also got the... because I'm sure some of you have the old Promethium relay pipes. These guys right here, it's discontinued for quite a few reasons. Because it's not really compatible with anything, for one. But I wanted to do a video of basically the thermic conduits, thermic plasma conduits, the old Promethium pipes, if you have these, versus the... ZONE MORTALIS kit. So basically I'm going to kind of go over all this stuff, show you measurements, or not so measurements-y, but show you comparisons side by side to do with what you please. So without further ado, I've got my fancy Ziploc box. This is part of a series, so I've been talking about my ingenious Ziploc box that's holding my laptop up, because my laptop's like this right now. It's at an angle. So I'll move this out of the way and I'll swing the laptop over here and drop it down. Look at me, I've got my pajamas on. My little deer pajamas from Christmas last year. Because that's how I roll. So, let's first talk about the Promethium pipe. So, if you are one of the older gamers, I guess, if that's a thing, because older gamer to me is late 80s, early 90s. But... this came out in the 2000s, and if you do have this set and you want to know how it interacts with the ZONE MORTALIS stuff, in short, it doesn't really. So, I'm sorry, but they're still awesome pipes. They also have, it's just a few of the components I pulled out. They've got these little corner pieces that go on the earth. That just stabs in there like that. And then you've got these other... bends, which actually creates the pipe, so if you're setting it up on the battlefield, you can make the pipe turn at a 90-degree angle. Unfortunately, none of this stuff really reacts and goes well with the ZONE MORTALIS, because it doesn't really... there's a bunch of negative space in there. Doesn't really interact at all. There are certain situations, and I'm sure if you have enough of these turns, and have enough of this kit, you could do some pretty crazy, sort of ingenious things. It does span the gap, but it doesn't really span it evenly. And what I mean by that is spanning a gap, I guess I should be more clear. So if you've got your, let's say you've got some walkways set up, and you're going to build this long hallway, right? I'll turn that like that. You're building this long hallway. Maybe you've got all of this closed off on both sides, and it continues on. I don't want to stick anything on this side because it'll block your view. But let's say you've got this sort of situation going where this just walkway keeps going. Same thing here. It just keeps going. You can bridge that gap, but it doesn't really... like makes sense. So you throw it in there, right? And it just kind of terminates there and there. And then if you're like, oh, well, I want it to go into the ground. Well, you put that piece on there, it's going to just drop off the face of the earth. And I guess you could run a pipe down there too, but you're going to have to do some kit bashing. And these videos are more basically designed around not having to kit bash, just things kind of going together well. So the Promethium pipes don't really, you could stab that in there. I mean, that looks cool, don't get me wrong. It overhangs, but if you brought it on the inside, maybe it would just chill. So, I mean, you could do it, but you're gonna have a gap in there, and I'm a hobby purist. I like my shit to kind of conform to everything. So there's no real way of making this stuff just seamlessly go with this ZONE MORTALIS kit. So that being said, I'd say I wouldn't use it, and I don't plan on using it with it. I'm going to use my Promethium pipes for just standard games of 40K where I need, you know, something to obstruct passage somewhere. But for your entertainment and knowledge, I will throw it up here so you can kind of see. So the Promethium pipe is thinner in terms of the width of one tile. So you can see it right there. I'm within the tile. On the other side, I'm also within the tile. You line it up on the edge and just kind of let it roll. You've got 1, 2, 3, and it encroaches on the fourth tile. I would say about a little less than halfway. Yeah, and the reason it's a little less than half, let me move it over here to the teeth and let me line it up. There you go. So that tooth right there is the center of the tile. And once you stop seeing this hollow circle, then you know I'm in line with you. So right there. So it's right up to the tooth, but it's not in the center of that tooth. So it's not quite 3.5 tiles. It's 3 and like, I'd say that's probably 7/16 on the way. It's not 8/16, which is a half, but it's 7/16. So that's it. I mean, this stuff, if you have it, great. You know, it's going for pretty good money too on eBay. So I would say sell it and buy ZONE MORTALIS stuff. But, that's just me, you know, and maybe I'll shit. Actually, I like my pipes. I mean, they're cool. But then if you're trying to get stuff for this kit and you just, yeah, if you have that and you want to get rid of it, you could probably make some money and buy some better stuff that will go with your terrain. That being said, now we're on to a standard thermic plasma conduit right here. Again, I'll do a little comparison. I'll try to center it in the tile and plop it on there. So there it is. It, again, fits within the confines of the regular tile. Should probably turn it up. There you go, like that. So there he is, or she, sitting right there. We'll line it up with the teeth to see if we've got a perfect... So this one goes 1, 2, 3, and again, it's not 3.5. So it falls short of the, or I'm sorry, 1, 2, and almost 3. It's 2 and that's a little more like, I don't know, a measurement. So if you're throwing your stuff out there and you've got this guy, this is going to sit sort of right in between. Let me bring that up there so you could see it. So it's wanting to roll around because it's on an uneven space, but right about there and right about there, it's in line with this row of teeth here and this row of teeth here. So what's cool about that is if you have these pieces, right? Actually, I didn't even check this. So if I put that there and I'll hold this in place. Yeah, so you'd be able to center that there. So this pipe right here, this curve, okay, is centered right in the middle of that circle. And I'm going to use my super steady doctor hand to hold that, even though I'm not a doctor. Move it over here. And it's, I'm going to guess that's right in the center. I'm going to say that this pipe, I don't know for sure, but I'm going to guess that if you glued this down in the center here of this circle and the center here, it would perfectly bridge that gap. Because that's what I'm feeling. Or it's going to be damn close. It's going to be one of those things where if you're a third person looking at this board, you're just going to think that looks awesome. You're not going to know if it's not completely on. Then you've got also with the thermic plasma conduits, this guy can either, you know, come off the ground higher and go in, or come off the ground lower and go over. And if you do that, you're shitting the bed here, because you're not going to be able to make that. It's going to go beyond. that piece right there. You want it in the center. So you got to stand it tall to go in. This other piece right here is sort of the same as this guy, but it's a further angle, right? It doesn't go, this one stretches out further, whereas this one's shorter of an angle. So again, you throw that on there, you throw that on there. Yeah, you're already way past your point. So, I found something out. I'm super excited about showing you guys this. So, with your Sector Mechanicus, how video's next. With your Zone Mortalis terrain, you've got these walls. And I've already kind of made a mistake assembling these walls because all these walls are universal. All these sides are irrelevant on how you assemble them. But some of the walls have literally no detail inside the arch. Okay? And that's important. Like super important if you're going to do this. Unfortunately, I happen to put a few together where there's no detail and no detail, right? Where this one has detail and detail, meaning the little box. This one's got detail, this little light, and detail, that light. And then, where's the other piece? Dag nabbit. Oh, this is how this video is going to go. No detail. No detail. I don't know how I did that. I don't know how I put two together with no detail on both sides. I wish I would do detail on one side and no detail on the other for this reason. And you're gonna be like, dude, that's pretty dope. So you take a no detail piece and you click it in. You take another no detail piece and you click it in. You take your thermoplasmic conduit and literally this space right here will perfectly sit inside of this area, like with the most minute amount of wiggle room. Like we're talking millimeters, millimillimeters. I don't even know what's smaller than a millimeter. But you do that, and you take this other one, get my fat arm out of the way, and you touch them. So basically they're standing on top of each other. Ah, that was epic. So you stand them on top of each other, like this, okay? And you drop them right down. And they lock in. Like, I have to hold it together, obviously, and this is going to be something you're going to need to glue. Because it's not going to this is literally a piece you'd have to glue. But because if I let go, no, it'll stay, but it's super delicate. But how cool is that? Like that thermic plasma regulator conduit will literally bridge right between those two pieces. Now, if you had one of these pieces with the detail, it hangs up on it. Even this tiny little cord going down to that voltage box right there, it'll hang up on it. It won't allow you to stick this in because this literally, the circumference of that circle is the inside diameter of that archway, which is pretty crazy. But I've got like super crazy thoughts now because I'm thinking, oh, that would be sick. I could do something like this where you're throwing your stuff up. Again, I gotta, this is the one I hard glued. Son bitch. Coming back to bite me in the ass. There you go. So you're doing something like that, and you plop that up there. Let's see if that'll hold. Barely. But how dope is that? Like, you could put dudes underneath. I don't know. I think that's super, super cool. And then you could run a pipe down here from this little T-body that they've got going on. It's just a really, really neat. Let me try to hold this in place and pick this up. This may go disastrous squig dice style. But, I mean, how cool is that, right? Like, that is super, super badass. So you're creating this particular set, a la, instead of these, the Promethium pipes, right? You've got way more options, because this again is going to go across. It doesn't really have the ability to terminate in a logical sense. It's just kind of this free floating pipe of, in my opinion, stupidity. But this thermic plasma stuff has got some serious possibilities. The next thing to mention is that the game set, Dark Uprising, comes with like 18 of these guys. And some of them are flat like that. And there's another type that have a bit of an angle. You can see here, that piece is kind of cut out. Right? See how it's not... Versus this one, where it's all the way around. And that one got that weird cut in it. Well, that cut is designed to basically rest. If you look at this guy, it comes straight down and then sort of 45s over. Well, that little cut acts as that piece, right? And it sits flush. And you can glue that in. So now you're going, well, shit, man. Why can't you just do that? Why can't you just put that in there? Because you can use a piece that has detail with this little glue-in piece and stab that in there and let it rest, right? Like so. Well, this guy does line up with it, which is the either tall, short curve, or short 90, or the short long 90. Well, the short long 90 per version of it will go right into it like that. The tall 90 version obviously is going to sit higher, and it sits above even the level of a blank one, so you wouldn't ever really be able to get that in there. So you do have that option. But if you do that, you're adding additional width coming outwards. So this conduit piece right here will not connect. See how much it's already overlapping into the next square? Simply because you did what you did here. You put that extra piece in, which brought the pipe out, which forced it into the space of where this would normally sit. And you just kind of screwed yourself. So this is a cool piece right here. If you want to add some flair to pieces that have detail, I would not recommend gluing that onto a piece with no detail. But a piece like this where it has that light, because that light, you can't put this inside. It just it rocks all over it, and it won't set. It just does not sit flush. You need this to sit completely flush. So I would not glue this on. You could glue this onto these pieces, no problem, because it's not going to affect anything. This wall never touches another wall in terms of like a sandwich situation. The only thing it touches is on its sides. So I would never glue shit on the sides. I'd only glue it on the fronts. And again, this also applies to these two thick walls, because a too thick wall is the same as just two ones, right? So here, if I had this choice, well, there's detail here, so I can't do my cool pipe thing. There's detail here, but no detail here. So what I might want to do is glue this on here, right? And then I could throw this down, and I could permanently glue that. It's not going to affect anything in the game. I could make this pipe connect like so, right? Then find my wall with my clear piece, and I could do, come on, buddy. I gotta hold it still because it's not, there we go. So then it looks like the pipe kind of comes out of the ground in, turns in here, and comes back out, right? That's kind of what's happening right there. So that's super cool. And that's just this piece with that angle cut in it. You've also got these two other ones, as I've talked about before. One of them sits a tad bit higher than the other, if you can look at that. Just a tad bit, right? You can use these. Unfortunately, you have to put these on pieces that, let's see if this one has the little light above it. I'm doing all this by the seat of my pants. I've kind of slightly messed with it, but I didn't 100% messed with it. So standing this up where it's taller and a shorter 90 versus we already can do the shorter but longer 90 with the angle piece, right? Now we want to go taller but shorter 90. Yeah, that's going right into that light. So you're going to need a non-detailed wall to glue that in order for that to connect. So in the raw, this piece doesn't fit because this little angle that comes away from the wall prohibits this from attaching, right? But this piece in particular is designed to move it out from the wall. So if you glue that onto there, right? Let's try to hold this at a little better view. It now creates that extension so you can actually glue it in to there. So just like the floor tiles, you're going to have to spend some time really looking at your stuff and figuring out what you truly want to do with it. But I think the win here and the cool trick that, you know, I'm sure is going to be sprouting out amongst people, because everyone's pretty clever when it comes to messing around, and people will figure this out. But I think the coolest, like, undiscovered, untalked about thing is this kind of bridge possibility. And it even looks way cooler when you go up a second level and you've got that sort of hollow space underneath to do it. So let me get my Ziploc box back, bring this back up. So that's it. That is my rundown on the Zone Mortalis stuff in comparison to the thermic plasma regulator, or thermic plasma conduits, and the Promethium relay pipes. It's kind of unfortunate that these are pretty much pointless, but I mean, you could use it in open space for the game, you know, but in terms of like it measuring up to things, it's just not going to work. So I'd say shit can these in lieu of more of these. And the kit does come with a sprue of these also to do that with. So that was pretty fun. I had a great time kind of sitting there, and I discovered some stuff while we were talking about it. So super neat. I've got, I think, one more video to do, or two more videos to do. Yeah, I've got two more. Well, I might do one. Might make it a longer one. But I got the Ryza terrain, and I've got the Sector Mechanicus, which is going to be the big one. It's probably going to be about an hour. Because if I just got excited about pipes for 24 minutes, then I'm guessing my Sector Mechanicus stuff is going to go a little longer. But maybe not. You know, I might summarize that a little faster than this. We did a lot of exploring together. So... another sip of coffee. All right, man. So, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.